Network Center. This is IchiTV News Now.
Good evening. Today is March 19, 2025. The headlines: the prosecution panel started practicing for Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial, House Secretary Reginald Velasco said Wednesday. The Manibela announces 3-day transport strike. Bato Mills going into hiding from possible ICC arrest. Government inks deal with Cebu Pacific appointees on OFW Center in Mactan, Cebu Airport. The Hamas accused Israeli Prime Minister to resent to resume war after impasse in truce negotiations. The U.S. federal judge on Wednesday suspended the Trump administration ban on transgender people serving in the military. For PBS.
Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Live from the IchiTV Network Center. This is IchiTV News Now.
Hi, I'm Oskee Walden. IchiTV News Now begins right now. Thanks for joining us. For those who are watching us on YouTube and on Twitch, glad you joined us today. Our top story at this hour. The prosecution team has begun preparations for Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial. House Secretary General Reginald Velasco confirmed Wednesday a mock trial was conducted to simulate proceedings and refine strategies. Duterte faces charges including constitutional violations, betrayal of public trust, and graft. 16 out of 24 Senate votes are required for conviction, which could disqualify her from public office. About 2 to 3 prosecutors are assigned per article of impeachment, with private lawyers and former lawmakers lending expertise. Senate Secretary Renato Bantong Jr. noted that 2 private lawyers are aiding senators in reviewing trial rules. House Speaker Martin Romualdez assured that the prosecution is ready to present its case once the impeachment court convenes. Senate President Francis Escudero proposed a timetable that could see the trial begin on July 30. The Senate plans to approve new impeachment rules and hold an oath-taking for senator judges when Congress reconvenes on June 2. Duterte and her legal team had challenged the impeachment at the Supreme Court, arguing procedural lapse and lack of due process. Among the charges are allegations of an assassination plot against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and misuse of confidential funds, which Duterte has denied, calling them politically motivated. In other news, Manibela announces 3-day transport strike. Transport Group Manibela will be going on a 3-day transport strike starting Monday, March 24. The group said it is protesting the allegedly inaccurate jeepney consolidation figures being presented by the Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board and Department of Transportation. The group has been holding various transport strikes to oppose the consolidation, stressing that jeepney modernization is a step in the right direction, but nobody must be left behind. Manibela has said that jeepney modernization must be free of corruption and has hit government for choosing foreign-made modern jeepneys when there are talented Filipino manufacturers who could do the job. Bato Mills going into hiding from possible ICC arrest. Senator Ronald De La Rosa said he might take refuge in the Senate or go into hiding if the International Criminal Court or ICC issues an arrest warrant against him over the drug war cases linked to former President Rodrigo Duterte. Senate President Francis Escudero affirmed that De La Rosa could not be arrested within Senate premises. They can't arrest you inside. They should respect the Senate as an institution. De La Rosa told reporters. However, he remains undecided about his next move and is awaiting the Supreme Court's ruling on the Philippines' cooperation with the ICC. Despite the Senate sanctuary, De La Rosa did not rule out the possibility of hiding, saying he would cross the bridge when he gets there. He also expressed concern about Duterte's detention conditions, suggesting it would be difficult for him to be in the same situation. De La Rosa and Duterte have sought a temporary restraining order against ICC proceedings, emphasizing the need for judicial independence in the Philippines. He thanked Escudero for offering protection but acknowledged that staying indefinitely in the Senate may not be feasible. De La Rosa also criticized former allies, including National Security Advisor Eduardo Año, for their roles in Duterte's legal troubles, saying that broke our hearts. Additionally, he dismissed Presidential Legal Counsel Juan Ponce Enriquez's remarks about Duterte's situation as personal opinions that should be respected. The center maintained that the wounds caused by Duterte's arrest could only heal if the former president is allowed to return to the Philippines. For our business news, migrant workers debt links deal with Cebu Pacific, appointees on OFW Center in Matan Cebu International Airport. The Department of Migrant Workers or DMW on Wednesday signed an agreement with Cebu Pacific and Aboitiz Infracapital Cebu Airport Corporation for the creation of an overseas Filipino workers center at the Mactan Cebu International Airport. Under the deal, an OFW processing center will be set up at MCIA, which would provide various services to migrant workers and their families. Its construction is expected to be finished by April this year and could fully operated by June 7, 2025. Medical and legal services will be available in the processing centers, which aim to ease departures and arrivals for OFWs, said DMW Secretary Hans Kakdak. Access to our processing venues will provide the necessary comfort and services while they are waiting, like coffee, food, and all those things will be made available to them. As I said, this will transcend to even better, such as the lounges in Naiya that serve 1 million already, he added. Kakdak said more OFW centers will be established soon in the country's international airports and discussions are underway. These processing centers are already present in the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, he added. Julius Neri, CEO and General Manager of the Mactan Cebu International Airport, said the creation of the OFW Center sought to make assistance and customer service easy to access. One of the concerns was how big would the area be. I would like to emphasize that we would adjust very quickly to whatever the needs are. If the traffic would grow, we would create a bigger area right away, said Neri. The officials declined to reveal how much the project would cost, saying they would instead focus on maintaining standards and providing the best passenger experience. For world news, Israel vows to fight on in Gaza after deadliest strike since truce. Israel vowed on Tuesday could continue fighting in Gaza until all hostages are returned as it unleashed its most intense strikes since a ceasefire, with the health ministry in the Hamas-run territory reporting more than 400 people killed. Hamas accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of deciding to resume war after an impasse in truce negotiations, and warned that the return to fighting could be a death sentence for hostages still alive in Gaza. The strikes were by far the biggest and deadliest since a truce took effect in January. Hamas has not responded to the strikes so far. Netanyahu warned Hamas this month of consequences it cannot imagine if it does free hostages still in Gaza, and Israeli media reported on plans aimed at wrapping up pressure on Hamas, the health plan. The White House said Israel consulted U.S. President Donald Trump's administration before launching the wave of strikes, which the health ministry in Gaza said killed mostly women and children. Netanyahu's office said the operation was ordered for after Hamas repeated refusal to release our hostages, as well as its rejection of all the proposals it has received from U.S. Presidential Envoy Steve Witkoff and from the mediators. Israel will, from now on, act against Hamas with increasing military strength, the statement said. We will not stop fighting as long as the hostages are not returned home and all our war aims are not achieved. Defense Minister Israel Katz said. Apart from the release of the remaining hostages, Israel's other main war aim is to crush Hamas. In a statement, Hamas said Israel had decided to overturn the ceasefire agreement. Netanyahu's decision to resume war is a decision to sacrifice the occupation's prisoners and impose a death sentences on them, it said. Hamas said the head of its government in Gaza, Issam al-Dalis, was among several officials killed in the strikes. A Hamas official said the group was working with mediators to stop the bombardment, while the movement blamed what it described as unlimited U.S. support for Israel for the deadly strikes. From there, we're going to take a quick break. Up ahead, U.S. federal judge suspends ban on transgender people in military. We'll give you details when you return to watching IchiTV News Now here on IchiTV. More news, a U.S. federal judge suspends ban on transgender people in military. A U.S. federal judge on Tuesday suspended the Trump administration ban on transgender people serving in the military, citing the principle of equality and dealing a blow, if only temporary, to the U.S. president's agenda. Referencing the U.S. Declaration of Independence, which states that all humans are created equal, Judge Anna C. Reyes suspended President Donald Trump's late January order that excluded transgender people from the armed forces. That suspension, however, will be put on pause until March 21 to give the government time to file an emergency stay at the higher court, according to Reyes' decision. The order will nonetheless come as a blow to Trump's administration, which has made it a priority to strip protections from minorities since he took office. Trump's January 7 executive order stated that expressing a false gender identity divergent from an individual's sex cannot satisfy the rigorous standards necessary for military service. Since taking office, he has also declared that the U.S. government will only recognize two sexes, male and female, that are not changeable. The number of transgender people in the U.S. military is estimated at about 15,000 out of around 2 million. Reyes' order used unusually strong language in parts to criticize the order banning transgender Americans from serving in the military. The military ban is soaked in animus and dripping with pretext, the judge wrote. Its language and unabashedly demeaning. Its policy stigmatizes transgender persons as inherently unfit, and its conclusions bear no relation to fact. The judge said Trump could have crafted a policy that balances the nation's need for a prepared military and Americans' right to equal protection. They still can. The military ban, however, it's not that policy. In February, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth issued a memo preventing transgender people from joining the military and halting gender transition treatment for others who are already in uniform. The Pentagon has also said it will begin removing transgender troops from the military unless they obtain a waiver on a case-by-case basis, according to a February memo. The U.S. military lifted a ban on transgender troops in 2016 during Democrat Barack Obama's second term as president, but policies had seesawed under his successors Trump, Joe Biden, and now Trump again. Transgender issues had ruled U.S. politics in recent years, as state control by Democrats and Republicans have moved in opposite directions on policies ranging from medical treatment to what books on the topic are allowed in public or school libraries. Tuesday's order was in a case brought by a group of transgender people either in the military or wishing to become so, to challenge Trump's latest executive order. For our PVL news, Creamline nears PBL semis after sweeping Cherry Tigo. Defending champions Creamline Cool Smashers move closer to the 2024-25 Premier Volleyball League All-Filipino Conference semifinals or quarterfinals after sweeping Cherry Tigo with the scores of 25-10, 27-25, 25-21 in the quarterfinals at the Phil Sports Arena. After dominating the opening set, Creamline fought up in a late Cherry Tigo rally in Set 2 with a 7-2 finishing run. In Set 3, Tots Carlos sealed the win with an off-the-block kill as Ara Galang's attack error handed Dreamland the victory. This marked head coach Sherry Meneses' 100 career win. Alyssa Valdez led with 16 points, 13 digs, and 9 receptions to earn Player of the Match honors, crediting the coaching staff's preparation amid a busy schedule, including teammate Michelle Gumabao's wedding. Carlos added 13 points, while Kyle Negrito tallied 20 excellent sets. Shaira Adorador was the lone bright spot for Cherry Tigo with 10 points. The Cool Smashers aim to clinch the series on March 22 at the Inares Center in Antipolo. Meanwhile, Zeus Coffee stuns Petrogas moves closer to PBL semis. Zeus Coffee Thunderbells pulled up a stunning upset against Petrogas, sweeping them 25-21, 25-23, 27-25 in Game 1 of the 2024-25 PVL All-Filipino Conference quarterfinals at the Phil Sports Arena. Now leading the best of 3 series 1-0. The Thunderbells are on the brink of an historic semi-final appearance. Jovelyn Gonzaga credited their selfless team play for the breakthrough win, which also snapped Petrograd's 10-game winning streak. Chini Aquino pushed Zeus Coffee to match point at 24-23, but Brooke Van Sickle forced an extension. After a tight exchange, Myla Pablo's attack over gave Zeus Coffee a 26-25 edge before Gonzaga's clutch buck on Pablo sealed the victory. Try Congrosso spearheaded the offense with 14 points and 4 blocks, while Thea Dagate and Gonzaga added 11 each. Cloan Mondonedo orchestrated the attack with 19 excellent sets. Van Sickle led Petrogas with 18 points, with Pablo chipping in 4. Zeus Coffee can close out the series in Game 2 on March 23 at the United Center in Antipolo. And for our entertainment news, Justin Bieber on confirming hatred, we can only let hate go by first acknowledging it's there. Justin Bieber took to social media to reflect on dealing with hate. In an Instagram story, the pop star shared how he was taught as a child not to hate. I was always told when I was a kid not to hate, but it made me feel like it wasn't allowed to have it, and so I didn't tell anyone I have it, he expressed. The hitmaker continued not noting how this ultimately made him feel overwhelmed and vulnerable, which made me feel like I had been drowning, feeling unsafe to acknowledge it. Justin encouraged everyone that acknowledging the hatred we feel is the first step towards letting it go, and that it's okay to feel hate, especially when we are hurting. I think we can only let hate go by first acknowledging it's there. How could we feel hate from all of the hurt we have experienced? He advised. The singer, who recently faced public scrutiny for his alleged behavior, shared a social media story featuring Shaw's 2022 hit, I Hate You. Just last week, Justin also posted a somber message on his stories, reflecting on how he feels unworthy and struggles with imposter syndrome. People told me my whole life, wow, Justin, you deserve that. And I personally have always felt unworthy, like I was a fraud, he wrote. The pop star went on to share that when he receives praises, he feels like if people knew that he truly thinks and how he really is, they wouldn't be giving him those compliments. When people told me I deserve something, it made me feel sneaky like, damn, if they only knew my thoughts, how judgmental I am, how selfish I really am. They wouldn't be saying this, he admitted. Justin added that if anyone feels the same way, dumping their qualifications on most days, they are not alone and are heard. I said all this to say, if you feel sneaky, welcome to the club. I definitely feel unequipped and unqualified most days, he said. The pop star's representative recently clarified in a statement that Justin has experienced a transformative year, during which he ended several close friendships and business relationships that no longer serve him. They also asked the public to refrain from spreading harmful narratives. And finally, film actor Jacob Batalon joins Jack Quaid in Novocaine. The action-packed thriller Novocaine is making waves among critics and audiences, blending adrenaline-pumping stunts with sharp humor. Starring Jack Quaid, the film follows Nathan Kane, an ordinary man with an extraordinary condition. He can feel pain. When his girlfriend is kidnapped, he discovered that his rare condition gives him an unexpected advantage, turning him into a relentless force against his enemies. Quaid, known for The Boys and The Hunger Games, described the film as one of the most physically demanding projects of his career. It's the most physically challenged I've ever been on a movie, he said. Joining Quaid is a Filipino-American actor Jacob Batalon, known for his role as Ned Leeds in Spider-Man. He plays Nathan's best friend, bringing comedic flair to the intense action. Also in the cast is Ray Nicholson, son of Jack Nicholson, who portrays the film's formidable villain. Amber Meg Thunder, also known as Spray, takes on a role on Nathan's fearless love interest, adding both depth and action prowess to the story. Filmed in South Africa, Novocaine delivers high-octane sequences and unexpected twists, solidifying its place as a must-watch afternoon blockbuster. And here are the last video for tonight. Here's a Before wrapping up for tonight, let's recap the headlines. The prosecution panel has started practicing for Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial. So I have an apologizing for the. I'd like to apologize for accidentally simulcasting Cool News Prime Time on IchiTV News Now. Totally unintentional. It won't happen again. Before wrapping up for tonight, let's recap the headlines. The prosecution panel has started practicing for Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial, House Secretary General Regina Velasco said Wednesday. The Manibela announces 3 days transport strike. Bartholomew's going into hiding from possible ICC arrest. Government inks deal with Cebu Pacific, avoidees on OFW Center in Mactan, Cebu Airport. World News Hamas accused Israeli Prime Minister of deciding to resume war after it passed in Jews negotiations. The U.S. federal judge on Tuesday suspended the Trump administration ban on transgender people serving in the military. PVL News Valdez toes streamlined past Cherry Tigo for Game 1 wins in PVL QF. Zeus Coffee pulls off massive upset versus Petrogas in Game 1 of PBL QF. Entertainment news: Justin Bieber reflects on dealing with the hatred in Instagram story beside the importance of acknowledging it. And film actor Jacob Batalon joins Jack Wade in Novocaine. And that will do it for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Oskee Walden. If you want to visit today's episode, you can play back this newscast on our YouTube channel and on IchiTV on Facebook. Keep well, keep it here at IchiTV.
Live from the IchiTV Network Center. This is IchiTV News Now.